If you're sitting the Cambridge AS Level Information Technology 9626 exam, the way you define basic data concepts can either secure your grade or completely tank it.
Take this classic student answer. Validation checks if data is correct, while verification checks if it matches the source. You probably heard that, right? It's exactly the kind of thing you might memorize the night before the test.
But here's the harsh reality. Writing that exact sentence in your exam will earn you precisely 0 marks. A big fat 0. Let's look at exactly why this happens and how we can fix it.
Part 1. Why memorizing theory fails.
Here's the thing. Relying on a generic, memorized definition is a massive trap. The Cambridge 9626 syllabus examiners don't want you acting like a walking dictionary. They want to see you actually apply these concepts to a realistic scenario. So if a question asks you about a hospital's patient database and you just drop a disconnected definition of validation without ever mentioning patient records, well, you lose the application marks instantly. I see this all the time. Students constantly confuse related concepts because they memorize them totally in isolation, rather than contrasting how their actual mechanisms work. Think about validation versus verification, online versus real-time, authentication versus encryption. If you can't clearly spell out how they operate differently inside the specific scenario you're given, you're literally just bleeding marks. So, how do we build an answer that is practically bulletproof? In just a moment, I'll show you the exact examiner clue that changes your answer completely. It's a real game changer. But first, you absolutely need the framework that makes that clue obvious. Which brings us to part 2, the 4-prompt answer framework. If you want to make sure your data and information basics are truly exam ready, you have to be able to answer these 4 specific prompts out loud for any given topic. Step 1, what is it? Step 2, how does its mechanism actually work? Step 3, where exactly is it used in the given scenario? And step 4, why is it better or worse than the alternative? If you build your revision notes around this simple 4-step structure, you'll naturally avoid those vague dictionary-style answers. Now, for those longer extended response questions, you just scale that right up into the Peel/J method. Point, evidence, explanation, link, and judgment. You make your technical point, you provide evidence straight from the scenario, you explain the mechanism, link it back to the organization's goals, and make a judgment if required. Trust me, this is the ultimate structure to extract every single mark out of an extended 9626 question. Let's move to part 3, the interactive Spot the Error Challenge. Let's put this into practice right now. Picture this. You're facing an exam scenario about a company running a weekly payroll for its 500 employees. Your job is to explain the processing method to the examiner. Okay, so a student writes this answer. The payroll system uses real-time processing to ensure workers are paid immediately at the end of the week. I want you to pause for just a second, look closely at that wording, and try to predict exactly where the fatal technical error is. Part 4. Examiner feedback and correction. Did you spot it? The massive error is real-time processing. Payroll fundamentally requires batch processing. You see, real-time systems process data instantly as it's inputted. Think of a flight booking system. But payroll? That involves collecting time cards over an entire week, grouping them into a batch, and processing them all together offline, usually during a quiet period. Saying real-time here shows the examiner a fundamental misunderstanding of the scenario. So, instead of that flawed attempt, listen to this sequence-driven precision. The system uses batch processing because employees' hours are collected over a week, stored in a transaction file, and processed sequentially against the master file without human intervention. Notice the difference? We didn't just drop a name. We explained the mechanism and locked it tightly onto the context of employee hours. Before you ever hit submit or turn the page to the next question, run your answer through a quick mental checklist. Did you use accurate terminology? Did you actually explain the mechanism, not just name it? Did you compare related ideas if the question asked for it? And most importantly, is every single point justified by the scenario? Part 5. The Diagnostic Cliffhanger. You've mastered the framework, which is a huge step forward, but here's the terrifying reality of the actual exam room. What happens if you build a perfectly accurate scenario-driven answer using our framework, but you completely misdiagnosed the actual demand of the question? Like if the examiner asks you to evaluate and you just explain. You will write everything you know with 0 direction, and you'll automatically drop an entire mark band. The hidden cause of lost marks isn't always your technical knowledge. Often, it's the command words. To solve this hidden cause of lost marks and finally decode the command words that dictate your grade, you need the next part of this strategy. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. It is absolutely mandatory you join me in the next explainer where we crack the command word code. After all, what good is knowing the right answer if you're answering the totally wrong question? I'll see you there.